Over me, but before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave, and I'm going home to my Lord, and I'll be free. I'm singing, oh freedom, oh freedom, oh freedom over me. Yes, before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. I'm going home to my Lord. I'll be free.
Harriet Tubman was born in Maryland in 1819, and her name was Harriet Ross. She was an African American, and it was slavery for African Americans then. She had to take care of white people's kids. She was beaten for not doing the job well even when she was a kid.
If we're brave and we are strong and brave enough to risk learning to read and write, I mean, ain't nothing more dangerous for a slave child or boy to ever try to do than learn how to use something to write with or read. I mean, that's going to take your fingers off of your hand off just for that. Ain't no greater danger to you.
No longer was she Harriet Ross, but by the age of 11, she started wearing a bandana, which meant she was a grown-up. She started going by her mama's name, Harriet. She was 12. Harriet was seriously hit in the head. No, she was seriously hit in the head by her white slave owners for not binding him in. Seriously. Seriously.
Singing
In 1844, at the age of 25, she married a guy named John Tubman. She wanted to be free, and her husband did not, so she had to leave him. She knew that she had to leave the stupid plantation place thingy so she could be free. And in 1849, she moved away from Maryland and escaped to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. A neighbor who did not like slavery gave her a map and papers and got her to the first slave house. She was put into a wagon with a staff and the sack over her. 1850, she led the first slaves to their destination north. Now she became a conductor of the Underground Railroad. She led people. She began to be known as Moses from the South, which slaves called the land of Egypt. Not only was she known by other slaves, she was known by plantation owners. She was bad in their opinion. If someone caught her, they would get $40,000. The state of Maryland had $12,000 for somebody catching her.
Do you want a job?
Oh yeah!
Do you want to work? Do you want a job?
Oh yeah!
Let me hear you say it.
Na 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 na. Freedom now.
Now do you want respect?
Oh yeah!
Once she had a passenger that got all panicked and decided he was going to turn back. Tubman was scared that if the guy returned, he'd be whipped until he told the people about the Underground Railroad. She pointed again at his head and said, "Dead folks don't tell tales." He cooperated. John Brown was an abolitionist who listened two things about Harriet Tubman and not Harry Potter. When he met her, he was so proud he didn't just call her Harriet Tubman, he called her General Tubman. From then on, he would only call her this name. He called her one of the best and bravest people on the continent. On the day Harper's Ferry raid, the day when the slaves rebelled and killed white people, it happened to be Harriet Tubman's sick day. Harriet Tubman's job was there, the Government War was ending because the Civil War was beginning in 1860. The last trip she saved 7 people from slavery. She worked for 10 years to save 300 people from slavery and took 19 trips and never lost a passenger. She went to war in 1863 and was a scout for Colonel James Montgomery of the North Union Army. She talked to slaves who might join the army and helped organize the Combahee River Raid, which was to harass white people and free black people. In 1869, she returned home to Auburn and married Nelson Davis. They loved each other very much and lived in Army till he died. She died on March 10, 1913. She was buried on Fort Hill Cemetery, aged 94. Had a warship named after her by Eleanor Roosevelt. Her name was placed on a postage stamp in 1995. 1995 years later, I had read a report about her.